And of course, it's 30 years of joyfulness. Hashtag Stop Galamsey Now. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight.
Coming up in the next 60 minutes, unrest and curfew in Boku disrupts health services and education. Details as head of Municipal Security Council review police officers will be deployed to campuses to ensure candidates write WASSCE in a safe environment.
The morning staff have closed and then new set is coming. So how the morning staff will close at 2 o'clock and go is a challenge. How the new staff will also come is also a challenge.
Plus, Peace Council raises concern over the proliferation of illegal arms. We'll speak to the Small Arms Commission.
If you work that is this.
Ghana's first Mpox death sparks outrage and criticism of complacency at the Ghana Health Service as confirmed cases spiked to over 250.
If you work that is this trajectory, you realize that the month of July, it has escalated. The question is, what are the Mpox protocols? When is the government, through its Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, going to brief the people of this country on safety precautions?
We have details for you on the Mpox outbreak here on Newsnight. Also tonight, Attorney General details new evidence of wrongdoing in the ongoing National Service Authority scandal, including 189 million transfer into a Bank of Ghana account with 80 million cedis remaining unaccounted for.
But we found 2 checks bearing the name and account details of the former Director General, Mr. Osei Asibe, which had been used to withdraw funds totaling a little under 2 million Ghana cedis from the said account. We have therefore halted the filing of charges so as to await the receipt of the evidence from the relevant state agencies.
We have details as he says Operation Recover All Loot Oral is moving at a supersonic speed, firing back at the NPP over slow loot recovery claims.
By this time in 2017, had they convicted anybody? They are the ones who are leading this narrative that there is a delay in oral just to give us, a sense of desperation, make us look bad.
Coming up in business, IMF charges Bank of Ghana to maintain a tight policy stance as pressure mounts on central bank to cut its key lending rate by some significant margin.
And in sports, Ghana's Portia Boache and Grace Asanto are named in team of the tournament at the just ended Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
And then later we'll bring you excerpts from what many have described as a questionable definition of coding by the Deputy Communications Minister designate Mohammed Adams Sukbaru.
Do you know what coding is? Yes, I do. Kindly tell us what coding is.
Well, I want to join us, switch of views and comments all here on Newsnight 05511119997, and we'll also hear from members of Parliament as they eulogize iconic Ghanaian musician Daddy Lumba, with former Defence Minister Dominic Nitiwo calling for a state funeral. Details of all that here on Newsnight.
Well, the early morning curfew in Boku is casting a long shadow over the township, with health workers struggling to report to duty. According to Municipal Chief Executive Isaac Azunaba, security escorts are being arranged to alleviate the inconvenience.
Well, the situation has taken a dire turn, with schools forced to close their gates due to growing insecurity as the West Africa Senior High School certificate examination looms next week. Concerns are mounting about the impact of the volatile situation on the academic calendar. The recent killing of 3 students from Nalerigo and Boku senior high schools has sent shockwaves through the community. Boku Municipal Director of Education Isaac Zasso has confirmed that the closure is necessary to safeguard life.
And we have decided to give the school a temporary break so that we'll go back to our various homes, to our families, and at the right time, management will communicate back to you. We are most concerned about the final year students who have just about a week to start their exams. When the break is given, we'll first and foremost call the final year students back. Then it will be followed with the Form 2s and then the Form 1s who are here. And I think that is the best decision for now. If all of us should return back to our parents, we can put their hearts and minds at rest. But if we continue to keep all of you here, the number of calls your parents will be calling to find out what is happening. We want to assure your parents that all of you are safe, and we'll make sure that we create a safe passage for all of you to get back home safely. Those who cannot go when the break is given, special arrangements will be made for you to remain with security provided for you as well.
But MC for Boku, Isaac Azunaba, says police officers will be deployed to campuses to ensure candidates write the exams in a safe environment next week.
Past 4 p.m., everybody is in their homes observing the curfew.
So what is the situation now? Is it calm, tense? What is your understanding of the situation in Boku today?
Generally, it's calm. We haven't had any issue from yesterday. Generally, the municipality is calm.
So as of now, every student is out of the Boku Senior High School campus?
Yes, please.
But you know that
yes,
those who are writing the WASSCE, they have just 1 week to write. What is the arrangement for them?
Yeah, so we have arranged together with the school authorities to transport these students with an escorted security to the campuses on the 4th of next month, I guess. They will be starting the exam on the 5th. So we'll bring them on Sunday, which is 4th, and then the following Monday, they will start the exam. We are engaging all stakeholders, including the traditional authorities, the communities, the surrounding communities, to be part of this peace building process. These safety measures we are putting on the campus for the students to write. We want them to support the process so that these students will have a safe environment and a peace of mind to write their exam. From the date of starting to the last day they will stay on campus. In addition, we are going to station security in the campuses, specifically the police men will be stationed in all the campuses within the municipality to ensure safety for these students to write their exams.
And so, but what if the student is not resident of Boku? Probably, let's say in the northern region, in the Ashanti Bono region, and now that everybody has been asked to go home, what is the arrangement for such? Are they going to stay on campus?
Yes, they are going to stay on campus with the security in place. And as I said earlier, we are making plans to transport these students. We are going to have buses to most of the places where students are coming from. We will transport them back to the campus, and we will ensure that the security is in place to keep them safe to write their exams.
What about healthcare delivery? Is it in any way affected by the conflicts? Other governments, institutions like, for example, the Assembly?
No, yeah, sure. You know, the curfew is 2 o'clock. Most offices close around 3 p.m., especially as you talk. The health facilities, they run shifts. As they run shifts, by 2 o'clock, the morning staff have closed, and then new set is coming. So how the morning staff will close at 2 o'clock and go is a challenge. How the new staff also come is also a challenge.
But are they being provided with security? Because sometime back the Ghana Medical Association, they declared that their members were under attack and was making it difficult for doctors and nurses to even accept postings to Boku.
Yeah, so I'm being in talks with the security agency to support sex staff with escorts to and fro from their homes to their workplaces.
All right, we'll leave it here for now.
And that there is the MC for Boku and Peril. He's been talking about the challenge that they're currently having to deal with when it comes to healthcare delivery. We'll be speaking shortly to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Some of their members have been caught in the crossfire, but in the interim, though, we're also hearing tonight from the Peace Council. The Ashanti Regional Executive Secretary of the Council, Reverend Amwa Budu, says they are now very concerned about the proliferation of illegal arms following the raging conflict there.
small arms. If you can see the track of these, all these issues that has happened, when they went to the site, that is the security, they were able to identify that the issues in question, the weapon used was AK-47. And you find out from the AK-47, the total of 10 spent ammunition shells were used, and that has been also retrieved. So looking at the gun, you will look AK-47, they can track and know where it is coming from. So if it is coming from there, is the Boku, is it coming from a gun which we can find outside, that is from the Sahel, the gun from Burkina Faso, that is AK-47 is not just manufactured like any other thing. It's like a car, anywhere it goes, it can be tracked. So is it, or somebody brought it that he didn't register? So because small arms are working on some of these things, there are rooms for them to investigate some of these things. So the moment it is covered like that, that this thing which is happening is what is happening here. All these important evidence are always lost from the conflict. And when it happens like that, those perpetrating it becomes a challenge. We can also say, is it a spillover from the sub-region that is affecting the community? That one also needs to be investigated, because the AK-47 that they took away the shell, they can identify where it came from.
Let's bring in Perpetual Ofori Ampofo. He's the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Perpetual, thanks for your time here on News Night. How are your members affected by this?
Good evening, Evans, and good evening to all your listeners. So the current situation is a great concern for the leadership of the association, because we have monitored the media and social media. We've heard the cries of some of our colleagues who are caught in the crossfire. For the past few days, from what they tell us, there's been a lot of gunshots. They are at home, they can't do much. Some are stuck in their homes with their children. And if the schools are going to be evacuated, which automatically means the teachers are going home, then it's important that we find a way of evacuating our nurses and midwives, especially those who are not indigenous of these areas, because they don't have any kind of family support over there and they are virtually on their own. It will be important that we help them to move from the area while stakeholders continue to work at ensuring peace in the area. And once stabilization comes about, why not they can return to those areas to work.
Do I hear you saying that you want your members evacuated?
Come again?
Do I hear you saying that you want your members evacuated?
Yes, especially those who are not indigenous of the area. And that's what I'm explaining, that they don't have that kind of family support or anything. They rely on themselves as colleagues, calling themselves. And with this new curfew, how do you go to work in the morning and get back to your home in terms of change of shift? And how do you go to work? It's not possible. It means they need to move from there, and they will need the security support to even move. So we are calling on the security forces, we are calling on the leaders of the communities to assist. But what's important, we are engaging our employer, in this case the Ghana Health Service, in the background to help the situation.
What precise help do you require? I had the MCs, for example, say that they're ready to provide security escort for nurses and doctors working in Boku.
From what we are told, it's gotten to a point where their lives are at stake. From what they tell us, it's not enough to stay at home if you don't have enough resources to keep you going in the days ahead. How do you stay home? So it's important that those who do not come from Boku anytime barrels and are working there, they were posted there by their employer, they should be assisted to move back to wherever they were posted from. They were probably living in Greater Accra region, Western region, Ashanti region, anywhere aside from the Upper East region. They should be assisted to move. Even in moving, they will require the assistance of the security forces. Because when there is conflict, you cannot provide care. You cannot provide care amidst conflict. And if there is no proper security, even at the place where you are providing the care, your life will be at risk. So, as we continue to pray that the stakeholders, those involved, can come to some amicable resolution of the issues, what we are calling for is evacuation of our nurses and midwives who are caught in the crossfire so that they can go back to their families. Some have left their children and their husbands somewhere and they are working in Boku. So let's help get them back home.
Perpetual, thank you very much. And she is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Also joining me right now is John Tim Forjo, is a ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament. Mr. Forjo, just out of curiosity, has your committee been updated and briefed yet on the situation in Boku?
Well, good evening to your cherished listeners. We've been having meetings on this. As a matter of fact, last week we held a joint committee briefing between the Defense and Interior Committee and Security and Intelligence Committee. We met we invited the Minister for Interior, Minister for Defense, the IGP, and among the discussion, very topical, was the situation in Boku. And then after that, we've seen this recent escalation, and we are going to engage again to ensure that the necessary collaboration that is needed to be brought to bear in de-escalating, and then the substantive matter also seeing to resolution. So we're engaging the necessary partners that we exercise oversight to ensure that we all support in resolving the situation in Boku.
And what do you make of the government strategy change from peacekeeping to peace enforcement?
What I would say in this matter is that, first and foremost, my condolences to all the bereaved families. Since the situation started, the situation has been there, persisted for some time now. So I won't single out any particular incident, but all the casualties, those that have sadly lost their lives over the period, my condolences to all the families involved. And we're also urging calm. We are appealing to all the feuding parties to exercise restraint, and we are urging calm that let us all support the 2-4 or 32-led mediation to resolve the underpinning chieftaincy dispute, and would also urge that in this matter, it is a concern to all Ghanaians. Let us all put politics aside. No one will benefit from politicizing this matter. It's very volatile, it is sensitive, and so this is a time for us all to come together as one and to support every tenable measure that is acceptable and that will ensure we have lasting peace in Boku.
Thank you very much. That is the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, John Tim Forjo. Still live your news, night is on Joy 99.7 FM. And on top story, we brought you the details from the press conference peril addressed by the Attorney General, but there is more.
Well, Dr. Dominic Hayini says that his office has uncovered fresh evidence of malfeasance in the ongoing NSS scandal. While speaking at the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House, Dr. Ayini revealed that an amount of 189 million cedis was transferred into an account at the Bank of Ghana under the previous administration. However, 80 million cedis out of that total amount cannot be traced. He further disclosed that 8 suspects, including 3 former officers of the NSS, have approached his office for plea negotiations.
Trials have commenced in the case of the Republic versus Kobina Idubohe and 3 others, and that of the Republic versus Solomon Asamoah and another. That is the SkyTrain case. In the Kobina Idubohe case, we are calling only 3 prosecution witnesses. Our first witness has concluded his testimony. But for the third accused person's sudden withdrawal in open court of a lawyer's service, our first witness would have been discharged to give way to the second prosecution witness to start testifying. We expect our second witness to start testifying before the beginning of the legal vacation on July 31st, 2025. In the SkyTrain trial, we have concluded the case management conference. It is important to add that, but for the change of solicitors and the multiple medical excuses of the second accused person, that is Prof. Ameyaw Ekumfi, and recently of the lawyer for the first accused person, we would have called 2 of the 6 witnesses by now. That notwithstanding, the trial in the SkyTrain case is expected to start before the beginning of the legal vacation. The National Service Authority scandal case was due to be filed last week, as promised, when we stumbled upon evidence of malfeasance involving an account at the Bank of Ghana to which had been transferred an amount of 189 million Ghana cedis. Out of this amount, 80 million Ghana cedis cannot be traced. But we found 2 checks bearing the name and account details of the former Director General, Mr. Osei Asibe, which had been used to withdraw funds totaling a little under 2 million Ghana cedis from the said account. We have therefore halted the filing of charges so as to await the receipt of the evidence from the relevant state agencies, including the Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Finance, and the Controller and Accountant General's Department. In fact, as I speak, the Bank of Ghana signaled to me that this morning they are going to deliver the entire, bank statement, for my attention. I am, however, happy to announce that at least 8 suspects in this investigation have approached my office for plea negotiations, including 3 former officers of the National Service Authority. Some officials have offered to testify against their colleagues, and some vendors and service providers are willing to come clean and testify as prosecution witnesses. When you build your docket well, this is the result that you get.
So you had Dr. Dominic Aini there. Well, our presidential affairs correspondent, Maxwell Agbadba, was at that press conference. And Maxwell, the Attorney General also gave more updates on investigations involving the Ashanti Regional NPP chairman, that's Chairman Wontumi, and the former CEO of the National Buffer Stock Company, and others. What more can you tell us from that press briefing?
Yes, Pearl. So he said the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, has wrapped up its investigations involving the Ashanti Regional NPP chairman and then Abdul Wahab Hanan, along with other implicated individuals. Now, he says the outcome of these investigations will be made public soon. He says the CID has also concluded its probe into the Akonta mining case.
Now, a report on the docket for the oral cases, including the mathematical sets, the All Africa Games, and the DRIP scandals are being prepared by the National Investigation Bureau for my attention. I expect to receive that investigative report in a few weeks for work to begin on filing charges in court. The Economic and Organized Crime Office has completed investigations in respect of Wontumi, Chairman Wontumi, and the former National Buffer Stock Company CEO, Mr. Abdul Wahab Hanan, and their accomplices. The results of both investigations will be announced very soon. The police CID have also completed a docket on the Akonta mining case and submitted same to my office. We have prepared charges and sent them back to the police CID for the suspects to be formally charged before their arraignment in court in the coming days. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, I wish to remind you of the fact that when I announced the Kwabena Iduboahen investigation, I was blunt in stating the fact that I am open to engaging in plea bargaining with those who have been investigated and found to have looted or stolen state resources. I minced no words about my intentions and will therefore not shut the door to any accused person willing to enter into negotiations with my office for purposes of reaching a plea agreement. My approach is in consonance with the central plank of the oral, which is to recover the loot, which is to recover all the loot. But of course, you use all advisedly, because as I pointed out clearly, it is not in all cases that it is possible to recover all the loot. So you recover some, realistically possible.
Well, Max, of course, we know that a lot of things came up at that press conference. Well, Dr. Dominic Aini also touched on Kwabena Iduboahen in the SkyTrain cases. What exactly did he say?
Well, in the Kwabena Iduboahen case, he says they are calling only 3 prosecution witnesses. The second witness will start testifying before the beginning of the legal vacation on July 31. He says they've encountered, some delays. He says despite these delays, the Attorney General, he says the trial is still expected to commence before the legal vacation begins.
Trials have commenced in the case of the Republic versus Kwabena Iduboahen and 3 others, and that of the Republic versus Solomon Asamoah and another. That is the SkyTrain case. In the Kwabena Edubonhe case, we are calling only 3 prosecution witnesses. Our first witness has concluded his testimony. But for the third accused person's sudden withdrawal in open court of a lawyer's service, our first witness would have been discharged to give way to the second prosecution witness to start testifying. We expect our second witness to start testifying before the beginning of the legal vacation on July 31st, 2025. In the SkyTrain trial, we have concluded the case management conference. It is important to add that, but for the change of solicitors and the multiple medical excuses of the second accused person, that is Prof. Ameyaw Ekumfi, and recently of the lawyer for the first accused person, we would have called 2 of the 6 witnesses by now. That notwithstanding, the trial in the SkyTrain case is expected to start before the beginning of the legal vacation.
Well, finally, the AG pushed back on claims that Operation Recover All Loot is dragging. Well, he suggests it's rather the NPP creating that impression. Maxwell, what more did he say?
Yes, Pearl, he did not mince words at all. In fact, he compared the number of people who were convicted under the NPP around the same period with those under this administration. He says it is the NPP that is leading the narrative to make the current government look bad.
If you go back to 2017, by this time, how many people were convicted by the NPP? How many cases were filed by the NPP? In fact, trials hadn't started in any case because, remind you, okay, as a senior member of the NDC legal team, I was almost invariably involved in most of the cases that were brought. Or I used to, sometimes if I'm not counsel, I will attend court. By this time, in 2017, had they convicted anybody? They are the ones who are leading this narrative that there is a delay in oral just to give us, a sense of desperation, make us look bad, okay? But come to think of it, I have given you an update. When we file our charges. Within 2 weeks, we file our witness statements and supporting documents. That is a record. In the Atuforcing case, it took 6 months to file witness statements. You can go back and check. 6 months to file just witness statements. We file within 2 weeks. That should tell you how hard we are working and how diligent we are with our investigations. There is no delay whatsoever. We are going at a very supersonic speed as far as oral is concerned. Now, also remember that, okay, conviction depends, on the judge, on the court.
You heard there the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine.
Well, Pearl, you recall that the Attorney General also touched on Chairman Wuntmi.
Exactly.
His lawyer is with us on the line right now, Andy Apiakubi, speaks for him, but also is his lawyer. Thank you, Mr. Apiakubi, for your time here on News 9. We had the AG say that the charges are ready. It's been sent to the police. Has your clients been formally charged?
Well, as we speak now, my client has not been charged formally. And we were expecting the investigators to complete their assignment and then prepare the charges and, of course, initiate the criminal trial, and we'll be there to defend our clients. But as we speak now, we have not been formally charged.
The AG says he's open to plea bargaining. Are you entertaining that thought?
Well, let's wait for the charges to come. We'll make appearance to court and we'll see the options.
Has your client been cooperating, though, since he was granted bail after that long detention?
Please come again.
Your client, how is he cooperating with the investigations after he was detained, leading to your own intervention to get him out?
But he has given his caution statement, and it is for the investigators to conclude and they prepare the charges for us. And serve us with the charge sheet and supporting documents for us to start our defense also. So we have not been served any such thing. And as Attorney General is saying, and the police charge us for court, we will do appearance. The things that I want to indicate is the fact that the Office of Attorney, an office for the Minister for Justice, and therefore he has a duty also to ensure fair trial and also give the accused adequate time, opportunity, and resources to be able to defend themselves. So I'm sure that will be accorded the necessary courtesies as we make appearance in court. So we are ready.
And just to be clear on his offer to plea bargain, you're saying that once you see the charges, is something that you would or you may consider?
Well, it is part of the possibilities that we'll be able to resort to. But until we are served with the charge sheet, and as I told you from the beginning, we have not been served with any charges whatsoever. So when we are so served, then we will consider all possibilities.
Grateful. Andy Apiakubi there is lawyer for Chairman Wontumi and still ahead here on Newsnight. In our latest documentary, Mothers in Peril, we'll take you to the Bongo district where mothers are forced to go home to bath after giving birth because their health facilities have no water. More as international NGO Water Aid urges equal distribution of water and regular supply by the Ghana Water Company.
This is a district that is sitting on the Vier Dam. Ghana Water takes its source from the Vier Dam and supply to Bolga and its environs. Yet, the people of Bongo, where the resource sits, do not have their share of Ghana Water supply.
And George Rafi is here with the latest in the world of business. George, good evening.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay. So let's get you business. And basically coming up, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama highlights a fresh potential risk to inflation outlook, which could impact on setting of new policy rate, including rising crude prices and exchange rate volatilities. Meanwhile, the IMF is charging the Bank of Ghana to maintain a tight policy stance as pressure mounts on the central bank to cut its key lending rate by some significant margin. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter's Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has highlighted a fresh set of risk to the inflation outlook. The governor is therefore asking members of the Monetary Policy Committee to be guided by these developments. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
Addressing members of the Monetary Policy Committee, the Bank of Ghana governor noted that these developments should act as a guide in whatever the members would do.
We must be aware, colleagues, of the risks going forward, such as a resumption of exchange rate volatility, crude oil price could increase, and the potential impact of some taxes to be imposed within the context of the mid-year budget review.
Dr. Johnson Isiama also maintained that the members should look at the current macroeconomic situation, whatever decision that they will take.
Colleagues, these can cause a shift in inflation expectations, and there are risks that we cannot take lightly at all.
He also gave a clean bill of health for the banking sector, as well as the fiscal situation.
Economic activity has picked up significantly. And provisional GDP data for the first quarter of 2025 indicates a real growth of 5.3%. The banking sector, colleagues, remains stable.
But for some, the concerns raised by the governor of the Bank of Ghana showed that we should be measured in our expectations, especially for those who are looking forward to a huge cut in the policy rate.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, the IMF is urging the Bank of Ghana to maintain a tight monetary policy stance despite the recent pressures. Julie Kozak is Director of Communications at the IMF, and she has been speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA.
I can add that the mid-year budget review is fully in line with parameters and objectives of the IMF. And with respect to the question on monetary policy, what I can say is that Ghana has made good progress since the beginning of the program in reducing inflation. Inflation was extremely high at the end of 2022 at 54%. It has now come down substantially to 14% at end June 2025. Going forward, it will be important for monetary policy to remain sufficiently tight, consistent with bringing inflation down to the Bank of Ghana's target range, which is 8% plus or minus 2 percentage points.
And Julie Kozak is the Director of Communications of the IMF, speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA. Now, the Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, has told journalists today that today's agribusiness dialogue is expected to come up with an agribusiness policy that will be used by government. According to her, the draft policy will be ready before the end of the week to allow further consultation before the final approval by Cabinet.
I'm expecting a policy that speaks to the issues of agribusiness, that solve problems and give opportunities, because it's tried learning that agribusiness can be a game changer. It's tried learning that agribusiness can change the fortunes of our economy and create a lot of jobs for our teeming youth. Something for everybody in the chain. For the young people interested in technology, you heard the talks about drones, precision agriculture, manufacturing. There is something in for everybody. And so we want a policy that is investor friendly, that kind of encourages people to invest in that space.
Minister for Trade, Industry, Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare. Now, the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs is championing a nationwide campaign to empower young women in business through the National Business Agenda. Chief Executive Sharif Ghali says that the initiative is well serves the plan of holding all partners accountable.
We launched the National Business Agenda last year, and the National Business Agenda for women and youth doing business is more or less an action plan or a work plan that would show what government needs to do, what the private sector needs to do, what the development partners need to do, even what the financial institutions need to do. So together we bring ourselves and learn from each other and hold each other accountable. And this is one of the best ways I think that we can work together. A platform for accountability, a platform for tracking progress, a platform for tracking programs. And that is what we've been doing. So you would see that there's a role for the presidency to play, there's a role for ministers to play, there's a role for agencies to play. And this is how we are doing to bring these agencies together to work in supporting these young women entrepreneurs.
And Sharif Ghali is the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. Now let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you're an investor in GCB Bank, it was up by 2 pesos to close at 9 Ghana cedis, 49 pesos. That of SIC Insurance was down by a peso and it's now worth 1 Ghana cedi, 12 pesos. If you had invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of the year to now, you've made more than 42% return on the market, quite better compared to other investment instruments on the market. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you, Peril.
Thank you very much, George. You are fearful of the latest in the world of business. We can now do sports. Daniel Cranting is here.
Thank you very much, Peril. Ghanaian duo Grace Asantwa and Portia Boache have been named in the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations team of the tournament following their standout performances at the competition. Now, despite a sluggish start, the Black Queens rallied impressively to clinch third place, overcoming Algeria in the quarterfinals and dethroning defending champion South Africa in the third place playoff. The pair's inclusion in the tournament's best 11 sees them join a host of African stars, including Nigerian duo Esther Okoronkwo and Rashidat Ajibade. The Black Queens, still speaking of the Black Queens, they arrived in the country earlier today, and present at the airport to welcome them was GFA President Ketu Kriku. He says he's proud of the team's achievement.
I am very humbled by this amazing feat by the Queens. I think that it's a testament of their dedication towards the work, and they have proven beyond reasonable doubt that they have the right levels of passion and they really want to defend the red, gold and green colors of our dear country. I think that it's a moment for them to enjoy, because they have done some good work for the country. And once this period is gone, we'll have the chance to resettle and think about our collective future. But at the moment, it is time to enjoy.
GFA President Ketu Kriku speaking there. The Black Queens head coach Kim Las-Bjorkeggen expressed his delight at his team's performance and said the only way is up.
I believed in the girls the whole time, and I believe in myself as a coach as well. I hope I'm not sounds like an arrogant person, but I have been doing this job for so long time, so I know when we are moving in the right direction. That has been the case the whole time, but sometimes the results takes a little bit of time, and we use the friendly games to be prepared for the upcoming tournament, and then we worked really hard in the pre-camp and make sure that we were fit enough to play this tournament, and we did a great job, and I'm really proud of the girls.
Black Queens head coach Kim Las Bjorkegren, bring that into sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Daniel Krante. Now, Evans, let's go to the Upper East region, because mothers in the Bongo district are faced with the ordeal of having to go home immediately after giving birth in health facilities to take a bath. That is because those facilities have no toilets and no running water.
Well, in our latest documentary, Mothers in Peril, produced in partnership with WaterAid, we uncover the silent struggle of women giving birth in some of Ghana's most underserved communities. And we'll be hearing from WaterAid itself pretty shortly, because they've been articulating the solution to the challenges that we uncovered in that documentary. Before that, though, here's an excerpt.
This is Konkua, a small farming community in the southwestern part of the Bongo district with a population of over 1,000 people. This small community-based health planning and services CHIPS Center is the only healthcare facility here. Both pregnant women and nursing mothers come here for antenatal and postnatal services. But the facility has no access to water and no washrooms or toilets. Mary Ania has been coming to this facility for some years now. She received antenatal care and delivered her second child in this facility.
Because there's no water here, I have to send my sister to go home and carry and bring me water so that I can take my bath here. I went home and came back here with rashes all over my baby.
Like Mary, these two expectant mothers coming for antenatal care are facing similar difficulties due to the lack of access to water and sanitation facilities. They say they are not even able to collect their urine samples in a dignified manner for lab tests.
The lack of water at the facility always forces the midwife to discharge you immediately after delivery. The only option is for your relatives to bring you water from home. This often takes long, and you would have been exposed to infections before getting the water.
The last time I delivered, I had to wait to be discharged the next day before I could have a bath. The urinal is outside and it's far from us. It's best to have it inside to enable us to easily access it.
According to the Bongo District Director of Health Services, Estella Abazese, many of the healthcare facilities in the district were built without the provision of proper water, sanitation and hygiene wash facilities because they were not intended to admit patients or for complex procedures such as delivering pregnant mothers.
So we've had situations, we deliver children, neonates, send them home, and within the next 2 days they are back at the hospital with sepsis. And we can't rule out the possibility that our infection control practices at the facilities without water is challenging and surely will have an effect in the spread of infections.
So you had an excerpt of our latest documentary, Mothers in Peril. Well, WaterAid, which has been at the forefront of providing boreholes for such deprived communities, is strongly advocating for the supply of potable water by the Ghana Water Company Limited. Here's the head of strategy, policy and campaign at the NGO, Ibrahim Musa.
When you get the groundwater to be safe, you can mechanize and pipe to long distance.
Yeah.
But that comes with heavy costs. But this is a district that is sitting on the Vier Dam. The Viet Dam, Ghana Water takes its source of water supply from the Viet Dam and supply to Bolga and its environs. Yet, the people of Bongo, where the resource sits, do not have their share of the Ghana water supply. So you can see what we call water justice issues here. So one will ask, why will Ghana Water be drawing water from Viet Dam, which is on Bongo soil, yet the community or district that is grappling with fluoride, that same water cannot be piped and serve the whole district. That's why I say your question is very important.
But have you had any sort of engagements with Ghana Water? What is their explanation as to why Bongo, the community that they're drawing the water from, is unable to access water?
In fact, for the past 2 years, we've been having the dialogue. This current government, we've had some dialogue. We've met with the Chief Executive of Community Water and Sanitation Agency. And so within the context of the resetting agenda, we are hoping that things will change. But problems don't just get solved by word of mouth. It has to be driven by resource allocation, which means that government must significantly allocate the needed financial resources in the budget to Community Water and Sanitation Agency and also Ghana Water Company, because this is a heavy capital-intensive project to be able to pipe water from the Viet Dam to supply, the people of Bongo. This should not be something that government cannot solve. We believe government can solve it.
Ibrahim Musa is the head of strategy, policy and campaign at the international NGO WaterAid.
Well, let's do another health-related challenge. The Ghana Health Service is now facing the backlash as the country records its first Mpox-related fatality. Now, Ghana recorded its first case in 2022 with a total case count of 257 with no admissions at the time. Speaking on Prime Morning on the Joy Prime channel, Dr. Joseph Oliver Comey, head of the Infectious Disease Center, says the rise in cases may be due to growing complacency, even within the health system. I will listen to him shortly, but first listen to the Member of Parliament on the Health Committee, a member of that committee, Dr. Kingsley Ajiman, who says the spike in cases points to government neglect and lack of urgency.
The Committee on Health has not had any briefing on, and we don't have to even have a briefing on. You see, if you talk of such viral disease conditions, it must be greeted with a very high level of communication. It's a clear case of the government's neglect towards this particular disease condition, which is spreading very fast. If you watch the disease trajectory, you realize that the month of July, it has escalated. The question is, what are the Mpox protocols? When is the government, through its Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, going to brief the people of this country on safety precautions? We have to do the comparison. How did we approach COVID? What were the protocols that were put in place? There was almost an immediate thing to curtail it. Health promotion was very intentional and deliberate. We've not been briefed as Parliament. The people of this country do not know what is happening.
We can now hear from the head of the Infectious Disease Center, Dr. Joseph Oliver Comey, who warns that the spread could intensify if immediate action is not taken.
To stay. Occasionally, we may have outbreaks, but it's an endemic. What we think we are doing wrong is that maybe we've taken our eye off the ball a little. When we had a lot of cases, no death, so everybody felt it was just a simple, normal disease. And so maybe we stopped taking the necessary precautions. But maybe after one mortality, we will start looking at things and looking at things better. I must say that on the whole, we have done some good work. It's unfortunate that we've lost one person. Currently, we know that there are 3 regions where we tend to have high cases, mainly in the Western region, Greater Accra region, and then the Western North region. So that's where we're concentrating most of our effort. Well, we're still trying to understand the disease pattern in those areas, maybe also because those areas are actually looking for the cases. So we must say that they are really advanced in how they look for the cases, highly sensitized. The community is aware, and the community is reporting the cases easily.
It's a live on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. And Peril, I'm pretty sure you have been following the developments following the passing of that high life legend, Daddy Lumba. Do you remember any of his favorite songs?
Yes, there's one I love so much.
Which one is that?
Ensure against.
Goodness me. All the songs that you can find from Lumba, Ensure against. By the way, some members of parliament have been giving us their fond memories of him, eulogizing him, celebrating this iconic Ghanaian, Charles Kojo Dadi Lumba, who passed on over the weekend. From our Minister of Defense, Dominic Nittle, says a late musician deserves a state burial. We'll hear from him shortly, but listen to MP for Mensha North, Akwesi Kunedu, deliver a statement on the floor.
Music brought people together across age groups, political divide, and ethnic lines. Whether at family gatherings, weddings, political events, national celebrations, his music played in the background, evoking nostalgic, joy, reflection, and a deep sense of emotions. Through his art, he managed to build bridges and foster the sense of national pride. Many young musicians today cite Dadi Lumba as their greatest influence and inspirations. He opened doors for future generations of high-life artists, mentoring some directly and indirectly, and shaping the industry through the standards that he set. His ability to reinvent himself whilst remaining true to his roots kept him relevant.
We can also hear from Dominic Nittle, who says Dadi Lumba must be honored with a state burial in Accra.
For an extraordinary human being, Mr. Speaker, forgive us, but we are mourning the best of the best. Forgive us, for we shall never forget the name Charles Kojo Fosu, a.k.a. Dadi Lumba, a.k.a. DL. On that day, let all of us be present to mourn him, wherever the funeral will be held, whether in Suta, whether in Kumasi, or whether in Accra. But I wish the state will give him a state barrier here at the forecourt of Parliament for the people of Ghana to come and mourn him. And I bet you the streets of Accra will be full. I went to the gym today and everybody was playing Dadi Lumba songs. You move all the parties of Accra, people are playing Dadi Lumba songs.
And that's true, like in the background.
Of course.
You're going to ask me what.
Oh yes, I was going to ask you your favorite.
I know you want to get back at me.
Yes, of your favorite. Yeah, your favorite.
That's the one in the background.
Are you a Lumba fan?
I am.
Really?
I can just play Lumba on my way home after a hard day's work because I just love his life. High life.
High life, yes.
His kind of high life, by the way. And Teresa is one of my favorites.
Teresa Bebre.
Track in the background there, and we've just been hearing the members of parliament. It's a pretty much a somber moment in parliament, talking about Dadi Lumba, and so let's leave it with something that hopefully will put a smile on your face.
Well, let's go back to the parliamentary veteran drama from last Friday. Mohammed Adams Suparu, the hopeful Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, faced a question that would make even the most seasoned techies sweat: defining coding.
Well, the committee member, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, probably thought it was, what's a verb kind of question. I mean, very easy, walk in the park. But Suparu's response had everyone raising an eyebrow.
Yes, I do. Kindly tell us what coding is. Coding is providing training for young men and women in the IT space. Pardon? Providing training for young men and women in the IT space. You gotta be kidding. Training them in web design, training them in, how to build software and what have you. Basically, this is what coding is, Mr. Chairman.
And yo, this is horrible.
Put your hands together for Jesus.
Where is the correlation between the two? I'm disappointed. I think the Deputy Minister designate needs to go and do his homework, but I'm worried.
So Evans, what is coding?
Coding?
Yes.
Oh, coding is when you train, people and you give them. That's what the minister said. If the communication minister designated has said it, who am I to say otherwise? That's it for News Night tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hello, pal.
Hello, Evans. It's been nice being with you tonight.
Catch you again tomorrow.